Good morning or afternoon, depending upon where you are across this great land. Welcome in, everybody. And before we get started, and of course, immediately somebody calls me on the phone, and that seems to happen every single time. And given the area code, I'm assuming that's a spam call anyway. But welcome out, everybody, to the next week. I think I earlier said week 3. Technically, it's week 4. We did an introduction, and then we did 3 lessons. This will be the 3rd lesson, so technically week 4. But before we get started, let's make sure that you can all hear me. And so feel free to jump into the chats and say hello. John, yes, they are archived. In fact, I'll even start the day by putting in the link to that, which will be right here. It's at www.raiselinks.com/LMM. And that will take you in. All you have to do is, John, just use that link, jump in, and you'll be able to register, and you'll get all the past lessons and all that kind of fun stuff in there. Mark says yes. Steve says yes. Justin says yes. Okay, good. So it looks like you can hear me, and that's a wonderful thing, I hope. So as I said, this is week 4, and we'll give it a second here to let some more people file in, since we're only 1 minute past the hour, and I know we're going to literally double in probably the next 2 minutes or so. But based on, before we get started with all that, based on the things that we've done so far, if you have any questions, now the first week we kind of did an overview. We looked at everything that was involved and looked at everything that we had, from the website to the Facebook to the YouTube channel that I created to everything else, and just kind of said, this is where we're at. Then we talked about Google My Business. We went in and made sure that all of that was optimized properly. And then after that, we went in, and last week we did, or the last week that we met, we did YouTube. Last week, I was actually stuck at my old office taking care of some business there, and I couldn't get back in time, so that kind of stunk. But Steve asks, what did I paint yesterday? I actually we're doing a new room here, and it's kind of out over here. If you watch my my first video where I walked around, there's a room that's currently empty. We've got 5 running rooms in here, and then 1 that's under construction. And so yesterday I was painting yellow onto the walls, and probably going to take me about 15 coats of paint to get that to look proper. It's supposed to be paint and primer in one. Painted it on there, and you can still see the drywall and where it was mudded up. So, yeah, might take a few coats of that. Jason says, hello, anybody. Well, hello, anybody, and hello to you, Jason. Hopefully that's not I'm in here and nobody seems to see me. But, Jason, we see you. We see you. So, and as I said, look at that. I'm glad I held off at least a minute here, because all of a sudden a bunch more people are jumping in here. Steve says, did you prime it? Steve, were you listening? Were you listening? It was supposed to be paint and primer in one. Not so much. So I said that afterwards. I said, we really should have just put primer on it anyway. Now, the green wall, which was also the exact same paint and primer, just colored green, that actually worked perfectly. And not only did it go on that wall okay, but we actually put this magnetic primer, which on the wall there behind part of it. And the magnetic primer is it's as black as fresh tar, and the green went right over that, and you could not tell where the black part was, where the white mud was, or the gray drywall. It all just painted green. But the yellow, yeah, not so much. Jason says, and why not? I'm not sure which he's referring to. Jason, if you can clarify, I'll be glad to answer. So if you mean why not primer, yeah, it's because it said it was supposed to be primer and paint in one. Light colors you need to prime. Well, then why would they sell it as paint and primer in one, Steve? You answer me that. Why would they say that? All right. Eddie says, can you put out a timeline on the bottom? I am at work and cannot go back to see the great info without watching the whole webinar. Probably, maybe, I don't know. I can try, Eddie, but it's, I don't know if that'll work or not. I'm not sure. I can try. That's all I can tell you is I can try. All right. So, yeah, Steve, again, why would they say paint and primer in one? Don't tell me what brand of primer to buy. Tell me why it says paint and primer in one if it's not. All All right. Anyway, enough silliness about paint. Let's get into it, boys and girls. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about social media, more specifically Facebook, because we've done a ton with Facebook, mainly because that was the first thing I had access to. And we've run into a few, Steve says they lied. They did. They lied. But on the green, it worked fine. They only lied on the yellow can, apparently. So anyway, so we've done a lot with social media over the last couple of weeks since we took this over. We've hit a few snags with a couple of things. Buffer, I'm looking at you, Buffer. If you don't know what Buffer is, we're going to find out. But we've done a lot with Facebook, not only with posts, but also with running ads and whatnot. And we've had some really good results. So we're going to take a look at those. And we'll talk about, the actual sales and what we've seen from that. And did our actual advertising campaigns and our promotional campaigns actually make any change? Well, again, most of the time this is going to be anecdotal, but we can look at data and we can say yes or no within a good margin of reason. We can look at that and say, yeah, it seems like it. Steve says yellow equals lies. I agree. Yellow equals lies. Yellow. All right. So anyway, Jason says, when does the show begin? Already 7 minutes after. Based on Jason's questions so far, I'm assuming he's not hearing or seeing any of this. So I'm going to give a little private message to him and let him know we have started. And others are chatting. Try exiting. And boy, I'll tell you, that was some great typing there on my part. I misspelled probably every single word. Okay, there we go. Or mistyped every single word. Try exiting and entering again. Either that or... Jason says, at 10 after, I'm gone. So Jason is not a very happy camper right now. Sorry, Jason. We don't want to see you go, but we've already started. Hopefully that will get him back in. Yeah. All right. So let's get this show on the road. As Jason mentioned, for a different purpose, it is 7 after, so we really need to get this show rolling down the internet highway. And so I'm going to switch over to my screen so you all can see that instead of my lovely face. Here we go. Boom, there we go. And I'll turn off my lovely face as well. All right, so what we see here is actually TripAdvisor, and we're going to talk about that in a momento. But first, we're going to jump on over to the old Facebook page, and I'm going to blow this up a little bit so we can have it gigantical. All right, so a couple weeks ago, we did talk a little bit about Facebook when we did our beginning overview to just kind of show where we're at and what we've been doing. And you can see here, we took over, actually, today's a good day for this. July 8th was our first live session, and that was literally the first day that we took over this business. So that was literally day number 1 that we took over was July 8th. And just so happens, last 28 days, July 8th to August 4th. And you can see we've gotten a reach of 42,890 people. Not bad for an area that, a town that has only about 10,000 people. That's pretty good, I think. We've increased the reach by 1,587%. The post engagements up 766%, and the page likes up 1,600%, which sounds fantastic, but we're still only at 85. So we have to definitely work on getting more people to like the page. And, that would be a good thing. And hopefully, Jason, you're in here now. If you've refreshed, let me know that you made it in if you did. And, hopefully you'll get everything that we're talking about here. Okay, so what have we been doing with Facebook? Well, the first thing that we did with Facebook was we started to post more often in there. And that's one of the biggest things that you can do that most businesses don't do. In fact, I don't actually, let me pop on over to one thing here. I'm going to take a look at something here. I'm going to go into my Trello boards and we're going to go into, I have one here specifically for escape plan. Okay, and we're going to take a look at Facebook here. I haven't updated this yet, but I started on 7/1, which is actually a week before we took over. I went in here and I posted what we had for Facebook. So at the time, we had 1,140 likes, 1,163 follows, and 1,228 check-ins. So, and they were doing about 3 posts, about 3 per day, all pictures of players. Okay. So what that means is, when I say all pictures of players, every time we have a guest in here, so they go through a room and whether they win or lose, they're actually taken out to a room and we take their picture. And their picture has, a nice little border on it and things like that. And then it automatically, the software that takes the picture automatically posts that to Facebook. Now, the problem that we had with that is it literally just posted the picture to Facebook. It didn't do anything else. You couldn't put a message. You couldn't put hashtags. You couldn't tag anybody, nothing like that. It just plopped it right there on the internet, onto Facebook, okay? So, again, we had 1,140 and 1,228 check-ins and about 3 per day. So what we did was we started to change that a little bit. So since almost all of them were the pictures, and we've been closed for a couple of days, we're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. So today is when we're opening up. So you can see there's a lot of other content, but you can see going back here 3 days ago, okay, here's some of the people that played the games and their pictures were posted up here. And by nature, that's it. There's no message here or anything else. So what I'm trying to implement right now, and you can see we haven't done a very good job of it the last couple of days, but everyone's starting to learn. And the person who works here on Sundays doesn't have access to the Facebook page to do this, but we're trying to go back and add in more information on some of these. Okay, so like if we go back here a little bit, you can see we're posting a lot of other things besides escape room stuff. You can see we're posting 5-star reviews now, but let's go into one of these here and see if we can find one, because it depends on who is working at the time, whether these things get updated. And you can see most of them are not. We're going to get everybody trained so that during any slow times, they can come in and they can edit these and add in posts. And let's see if we can find a good one here. You can see nobody's doing it right now. So we're going to have to really address that. Because when I'm here, I go back in and I do that. So we're going to have to get everybody else to start doing that clearly, because it's not getting done. But we were doing it pretty good for a while. Let me see. I'm going to find one eventually. Wow. There we go. Okay. So you can see the idea, and clearly not very well done. The idea is that they're going to go back and they're going to put in a message, link to the website so that people can actually buy a ticket, and then hashtags. So escape room, escape game, Loganville, things to do. Sometimes we do date night, depends on the night of the week. But these get posted automatically with nothing but just the image, which is okay, but it's not great. So now we want to make sure that we go back and start adding in this information here, just to really, get that to help us out a little bit there. Now you can see there's other content that's being posted in here. And what we've been using for that is, and I think I've talked about it before, is Bright Social. And what Bright Social does is it allows you to gather content and put it out onto your social media pages. And I'll go into that in just a minute to show you how that works. But the problem that I have right now, which really doesn't have anything to do with Bright Social, is the content that I've brought in. I'm not super excited about, so I may have to go in and change it. I was kind of lazy with this because I wanted to get something up. And so what I did is I found sites like this one here. This one's on braingoal.com, and it's different brain teasers. And so I took their RSS feed, put that into Bright Social, and Bright Social just pulls from there and posts it out, which is okay. But you can see that when it brings that in there, it always puts this image. So even though this one is about, which of at least 4 of these statements are true, you have to guess which one's not. So it's a little brain teaser thing, but it always shows the same image. So even if they were talking about, two mothers and 2 daughters went to the beach, it's still going to show this brain thing. So what I need to do is take a day, not be lazy, gather the content myself, and really make a calendar that I can then plug into Bright Social to get it to drip feed out there. Because you'll see if we go down here, you'll see that brain thing again pop up here, I'm sure. Because I know I've seen it a million times. But you see that brain one will pop up a lot. This one will pop up a lot. Depends on the site. And see, there's that brain again. So it's always posting the same image, main image from that site, not the image for that particular item. So that's why I want to go and do it manually, where I can add my own images to things and clean that up. But the point being is, we started to post all this content, and look at, we're up 766% in engagements and up 1,587% in reach. Okay, so that's a good thing. We got 85 extra likes there. So in that regard, it's definitely helped. Yeah, Steve says in the spreadsheet. Yeah, that's one thing you can do, is you can actually, Pete says, is Bright Social like Hootsuite? It is. It's very similar to Hootsuite. Bright Social does more marketing things and is a little bit easier to use. I find Hootsuite to be, just a pain in the rump to use, even though it does a good job. But yes, you could do this with Hootsuite. In fact, I have Hootsuite and I do stuff in there as well. But with Hootsuite, you don't get some of the marketing tools that you would get in a Bright Social, and you don't get some of the analytics that you would get. And I'll talk to you about that in a second, why that is. But yeah, so just posting a lot more is a big thing. And the experts say, you need to be posting 2 to 3 times a day. And we're posting a lot more than 2 to 3 times a day. If we go back to, let's go back to a day where we were open. So like right here, this is 3 days ago. So this is 3 days ago. This is 2 days ago. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 things were posted that day. And that's only because on Sunday we were actually kind of slow. Sundays are not a big day. And you can see that all of these were posted on the same day. So these are really 1, 2, 3, 4, this and 6 more. So there's actually a bunch of them for that day, but it posts them into groups. So that only counts as 1, even though you did 10. So there's really, 14 things or 13 things that we posted that day. And that's good. That's definitely going to be a big help. So we want to be able to add more content like that. And then this, you can see these are manual. So I actually, while I'm here, I will take the time to write something like right here. It says it's still early on a Saturday. Great time to do an escape. We have a few spots left all the way up till 11. Book now, and that information. And then I will take that, and not only will I post that here, but then I'll go and I will share that to my personal Facebook so that people that are in the area that I know will see it if they don't see it on here, which most won't see it on our page. So when I share it out to my Facebook, more people are going to see that, because more people are going to know me than are going to necessarily like the page. I also take this and I post it to a bunch of groups. I belong to a whole bunch. In fact, I'll show you right here. Facebook made a change, which is really cool. So I come in here and I'm going to change this to me. Okay. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this here. Now there is a caveat to all this that I'll show you in a minute, which kind of stinks, but hopefully Facebook fixes it at some point. So if I hit share on here, it's going to pop this up. Actually, wait, did I share the wrong thing? I did. I want to share it with me. Where is me? Oh, there's me at the top. Sorry. So I want to share using me. So this is my personal. So I'm going to hit share, and you'll see I can share now public, which is just going to, it's just going to throw it out there. I can write a post. Okay. And if I do that, I can come in here and I can paste something in here. Now, one thing to note, and this is kind of the weird caveat that Facebook has totally screwed up on us, is if you share something and you put a link in your message, it's going to remove the thing that you shared and put the link, the information from that link. Now, in this case, it was one and the same, so it didn't change. But if let's say I wanted to share a video that I posted on my page and I put this in here with this link, it's going to remove that video from the share and put the Escape Plan Georgia default image on there. Okay. So be careful with that. That kind of stinks. I don't like that. I wish they would fix it. Hopefully they do. But this is how you would share it out to yourself, your actual personal. But then what we do is we hit share here. Now watch what happens when I share to a group. They changed this and made this much better. Now, in this case here, if I put this information in there, it's not going to change that, which is awesome. We don't want it to. And in the group thing, it doesn't. So you can put a message with a link and it's not going to change the stuff you're sharing. Now down here, you can go through here and look. All you have to do is click on this share button and it's going to share to that group. But you can go share, 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 share. and share to all the groups in just a couple of clicks. So what I have is I belong to a bunch of local groups. So like this one right here, Snellville, Loganville, Grayson, local business and services. I'll share it to that. And then I'll share it to this one, which is also local. I'll share it to this advertising one, small business one, all of these local ones. I'll share that out to about 6 or 7 of these. And that way it gets out to, our page, it gets out to my personal timeline, and then it gets out to all these different businesses, or excuse me, all these different business related sites or local related sites, like the, Town Name Moms, Loganville Moms, that kind of site or group. Get it out to all those groups there. You can also share it to other pages. There's really no page that, I need to share it to that would make sense, but I could share it to a page as well and then just choose which page I want to share it to. Then what I do is I will actually go to another of my secret weapons, which has worked really well. And I know it's worked well because I've actually gotten feedback from people. And that is I will go and I will share it to Nextdoor. Now, if you're not familiar with Nextdoor, Nextdoor is like a local, hyper-localized Facebook, okay? So I would just come in here and I would create a message. I'd paste that message in here, and I can add an image, I can create a subject, etc., and post that out there. And what's great is when I do that, people will, on Facebook, people will like your stuff. On here, they will thank you for posting it. So they hit the thanks button. When they hit the thanks, so they'd come in here and they'd hit thanks. Okay, I don't even know what that was. Hopefully it wasn't something bad. You'll see who thanked you. Okay, so you can see right here, Ray Lane, boom. So what I can do then, and this is what I've been doing, is I'll go in, I'll post, hey, come on in and see a room, which I actually did just right before the show. I posted one in here. Oh, look at that. It's already completely buried by all the other things. But I posted one just a little bit before we started today. And when people thank you and it shows their name, you can click on them and type a personal message. So what I do is I wait for people to like it or to thank me for it. Then I go back in and I click on that person and I type in, hey, thanks for, it's always weird. I always thanks for thanking my post. It doesn't make any sense, but thanks for clicking on my post or whatever. By the way, if you want to come into the room, we'd love to have you in, and I'll give them a coupon code. If you use Game 5, you can save $5 right now. Boom. And I'll send that out to each and every one of the people on here. And I know people have come in from that because they've used that coupon. So that's just kind of a guerrilla tactic. Now, that's a hands-on guerrilla tactic, and I got to teach that to my other guys, so I'm not the one who has to do that each time because I want this to be able to run without me putting my hands in unless I want to. So I got to teach people to do that and make sure to follow up to see that they do that. Now, the other place that I will actually put that in is in LinkedIn. And the reason I'll put that in LinkedIn is why the heck not? You just come here and, just post that in there. Okay. So you can do the same thing. Boom. There we go. Now, I'm not going to post this because it's for last Saturday, but you get the idea. You can put that in LinkedIn, and now you've got a post in there that people can go to. And I just did that when I did the other one. I also did it here as well. So I put it in LinkedIn and I put it into Nextdoor. Now, another thing, by the way, with these social posts is Yelp. Now, I just, and I know some people are going to roll their eyes and cringe when I say this, but I just started out trying some ads on Yelp this morning. Literally this morning, I talked to the guys. We set up an ad campaign. We're going to see how it goes. But one of the things that they've just added is Yelp Connect, which is just like the Nextdoor stuff and whatever. You can post in here just like that. So I can create a new post. And again, I can do that here and put that in, and I can add a photo, etc. And that's going to give you a post just like you would on Google My Business or wherever it is that you, wherever else you post this. So all those places. Yeah, Steve is cringing over Yelp. We'll see, Steve. If they bring in business, I know that, some people have problems with them, but if they bring in some business and, their ad system, like I said, it just started, probably not even running quite yet. You can see we got 0 impressions so far because we literally just started this. But we're not going to be spending a ton of money on this, and we can turn it off anytime. It's just like with Facebook ads or with YouTube ads. We can go in, we can look at it. If it doesn't work, we shut it off. If it costs us money and doesn't do anything, we shut it off. So very simple to be able to do that. But that's another social platform now, just like Google My Business can be that. And again, you could post what I just did on Google My Business. Go in there and post it, boom, and you'll have that in there. So the idea is always posting, always posting. You can see I did this one here. Some of you may have seen this one where I scared people that were in one of the rooms. So I posted that video here, and again, I shared it out. Okay. So I went in and I shared it with people, and people got a kick out of me scaring people that were in one of the games, one of the scarier games. They were, that particular group was very scared of everything. And so we had some fun with that. So you got to post things that are fun. You got to post, like here, you can see I'm using Soci Jam to kind of pretty that up, put the underlines and the little things just to make it stand out. And I try to do that when I can. Sometimes I'm in a hurry and I just, get things out there. But when I can, I'll actually go into Soci Jam and do all that to it to make it look a little cooler. And you can see I was posting specifically to that. Now, the question is, all of this stuff, is it turning into actual sales? Well, the answer is, yeah, it really is. And the reason I know that is because we can actually look that up and we can see what kind of sales we're doing. So if we go back to, let's see, Saturday was the 1st. Okay. And is that going to Saturday, August 1st? Okay. Why is it not showing up though? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me refresh that. Oh, it logged me out. How nice of them to log me out. All right, let's go back to Saturday the 1st. Come on, baby. There we go. So you can see we were booked up pretty solid on Saturday, and that's from running ads. We start. Josh, John, I'll get that to you in a little bit. He wants to know about the Soci Jam. I'll make sure that's in the notes, but I have to go grab it, and I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head. But I will get that and make sure that we post it in afterwards. But yeah, so you can see now. The big question is, does that mean our ads are working? Well, we can actually go in and we can do some reports. And you can see here, like the last 7 days, $3,005. That's a little bit misleading only because we just had our 2 days off. But we were actually for that week, we did over $3,500, which is a really good thing. Now, I want you to look down here. Okay. So these are the actual games that were played. Let's blow this up a little bit. So we can see here, The Haunting of Camp Rutledge, 31, Beach Escape, 25, McHeist, 13, Motel Nightmare, 13, Area 1, 11. Okay. Now I want to go and I don't know if I can change that there. All right, we'll just leave that there for now. But when I did this the other day after our last campaigns, this was Haunting of Camp Rutledge had gone to over 40. And I think I put it in an email the other day when I was posting some out. This one was over 40 and this one was at like 25. Traditionally, the Beach Escape is by far our biggest seller. However, this past week and through the weekend, the ads that I was running were specific to the Haunting of Camp Rutledge. So not only were overall sales higher since we started running these campaigns, but this one jumped to number 1, and that's the one that we were specifically advertising. So the advertisements that we did were specific to the Haunting of Camp Rutledge, and that jumped to the top. Now let's go, let me see if I can do this overview. Let's do a sales report by item, and let's go to June. Let's try June because that was before we got here. So custom range, and we'll do June 1st. Oops, not June 2nd. June 1st to June 30th. And we will generate that. We'll see what we got here. Okay, so let's see. We'll do by gross. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, so this is the month before we took over. Beach Escape, by far number 1. More than double Motel Nightmare, which was number 2. Bank Heist, number 3. Haunting was number 4. So the one that we did the ads on jumped to number 1 when the month before it was number 4. Okay. Now we ran the Camp Rutledge ads a few times, but let's look at July 1, which we actually started on July 8th. July 8th was our first day, but I'm going to go from July 1 and we're going to generate this here and we'll take a look at that. So now you can see, oh, I did July 1 to July 1. Hold on. July 1 to July 31st. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Okay. So now let's do gross again. So here you can see Beach Escape did almost the same. It actually did a little more than the month before because our sales overall have jumped quite a bit. But The Haunting of Camp Rutledge jumped all the way up to number 2 and was literally $100 behind Beach Escape. So for the whole month, it jumped all the way up. And look at that. It actually had more games played. It had 38 games played. So it was actually played one more time than Beach Escape. Just probably the groups were a little smaller. Okay. John says, what are these movies? No, John, these are escape rooms. So these are interactive escape rooms. I don't know if you know what those are, but basically you get locked into a room and you have to solve all the puzzles to get out with your family or team. Pete says, URL for Bright Social 2. There's a redirect to brightsocial.com. I don't think there is a brightsocial.com website. They kind of keep it all to webinars and things, but I'll get you the link. I do have that. So I'll get you the links to both of those. They'll definitely be in the notes for the replays and whatnot, but I'll get you the links at the end here. So you can see running those ads, not only did we overall have much higher sales, so we did in that month, like I said, we didn't have the first week. The first week they did about 2,000, and then we did over 3,000 each of the successive weeks. So we went up by 33% week to week on that, which is really good. So we saw a big change in that. Now, with that from the month before, we actually saw an overall increase too, because I think last month, in fact, let's go back to that for 1 second. Let's see if I can just go backwards or if I have to put in the range again. There we go. So you can see in June, they only did 83. We did over 12,000. Okay. So we were up, over 33% month over month. And then from week 1 that they had to week 2 that we had, we jumped it up by 33% again there as well. And we've held that since. So I attribute that to mostly the Facebook and the YouTube stuff because that's all we had access to at the beginning. And so that's why I'm telling you, doing Facebook, getting in there and really starting to do your posts, it's going to help. It's going to get people in there. Now, of course, we also did ads. So I don't want anybody to think that this was all just organic stuff. We did do ads, and we'll take a look at some of these ads. Now, I did not have access to the business Facebook for these guys. So I was only using the ad center for the page itself. Okay. And so we can see here, escape plan in the last 60 days, spent $61 on one ad in the last 60 days. I don't even think that's quite accurate, but because we did a couple of ads. But reach was 10,296, post engagement 150, page likes. We didn't really do one specifically for page likes, but we got 131 clicks. Now you might think, well, 131 clicks is not enough. Well, if you're Coca-Cola or Pepsi, you're probably right. That's not. When you're a local business that only gets a handful of customers per day that you have to get in the door, 131 clicks is a lot. We saw in here, we're talking about payment counts. So 92 games were played, okay, in that period there from 6/1 to 6/30. So in that, in the month afterwards, we got 131 clicks off the ads. So even if only 10% of the people that clicked, which why would you click if you don't plan on doing it? But let's say only 10%, because that's a good number to use. That means 13 people bought. And if you figure the average ticket price is, I would say it's probably about $100. So the lowest is going to be, somewhere in the $80 range pretty much. And then it might go up to over $200. But I would say the average is about $100. Well, that's $1,300. So that's $1,300 extra dollars that we made off of that. And we didn't spend a whole lot of money. Look at this one, $60, 131 clicks. Okay. And that one there, that one's for, let's see, this one here. Okay. This is the one that completed. Okay. So this was the one that I said was for the camp. And so this one ended, we spent $25 and we got 350 clicks. Okay. And that was specifically for Camp Rutledge. And that's the one that we saw the big sales on. I mean, what can we attribute it to besides the Facebook? Now, we did do YouTube, and we've got YouTube ads too. We'll talk about that on a different day. When the YouTube ads were running, and there's a funny story about that too. When the YouTube ads were running, and they're running again now, I think we'd spent $20 and we'd gotten like 20 clicks. So we were getting like, oh, well, no, sorry, it wasn't quite that good. That'd be $1 a click. It was like $30 and 20 clicks or something like that. So we were getting less than $2 per click, which is really, really good. That's an amazing number, because typically a good number on YouTube is like $4 or $5 a click is really good. So when we're getting, 2 and sub 2, that's a really, really good thing. So you can see there were other ads run too. This one here was specifically for the video views, but of course the video had a link to the website, so a lot of people would have clicked through. And then I think before that was their ads. So, anything before that we didn't do. So we spent 20, 40, 60, 70, 80. So we spent about $100 and probably made back, $1,500 off of that. Even if we lowball that, probably at least $1,000 off of that. So that's a really, really good investment to be able to jump in and do that. And we're going to be continuing to do that along with the Yelp ads, along with the YouTube ads. We did just get access finally to the business page, to the business, the Facebook business control center. I don't know what they call it. I don't know how to word that. That has access to this page, so we'll be able to do more in-depth Facebook marketing, and we were finally able to add the pixel to the website, which we couldn't do before. So that's going to be a big help. So this is all, any of you know Facebook advertising. The sad part about this is, well, the interesting part is all this ads and what we got out of it was done without the pixel. So we weren't retargeting people and getting the lower ad spend because we were retargeting people that existed. The sad part is we weren't retargeting because there wasn't even, not only were we not using the retargeted info, but when all these people are visiting and clicking, we weren't retargeting them because we couldn't get the pixel and we couldn't put the pixel on the page yet. So we spent this money to get all these clicks and all these people to the website, and we couldn't retarget them because we didn't have the pixel in there. It is in there now, thankfully, and it is picking up things, but it's only been in there for a couple of days, so the pixel's still learning right now. But hopefully between these ads and the ones we're going to be starting on the other one, we should see a big difference. And we actually did start on the business page doing our first ad the other day, which is a more general ad. So we'll see how that goes and the results we get off of that. Now, that is, of course, whoops, I didn't want to go to that. Go back here. So that is our Facebook page. And again, the big thing here is posting, getting those ads in. And like I said, to spend $100 and to make back probably over $1,000, probably more like $1,500, $1,400 is a really, really good thing. And just for the record, I am not a Facebook ads expert by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just kind of going with, my general ad knowledge and hoping I'm doing the technical parts correctly. And so we got pretty good results. I'm sure there's somebody who could sit down with me and go through this and go, oh, you're doing this all wrong. You could have got double that. And, maybe we will do that shortly. But like I said, the big thing is getting content in here, getting people to interact. And then the one thing I want to show you, which I always think is fun. And I think I showed this, might have showed this in a video the other day. I'm not sure. But when people like this, okay? So you can see here, hey, look, Steve Sleeper and Carrie Lane. So my wife and one of my business partners, they liked this set of images here. So one thing that you can do that can be a big help here, and obviously not a huge help because, we only gained 83 new likes to our page. But if you click on this here, it's going to show you the people and you're going to invite them. You just click on this. It's going to say invite, and you click on that and it's going to invite them to like the whole page. So what I do is every couple of days or so is I just start to scroll through here and, look for ones that people have engaged on or liked rather, and then I will do that with them. And usually the ones that are liked are the ones that have pictures of people in them for obvious reasons, because the people that are in them usually like them. But stuff that we share out sometimes gets likes and everything. That's what we've got to work on next, is getting more people to like these things. And so you can see we click on that and hit like, and that will get them hopefully to like the page. And that's going to be a big help. That's going to be a big help for that. Now, as I said, this isn't all about Facebook. I did want to talk a lot about Facebook, but we're doing some other things as well. And we've had some success and some challenges. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So during the last 2 weeks, the last class we had was 2 weeks ago because, I was stuck last week. But we did get access to Instagram, which we may have had the last time. I can't remember. We got access to the Twitter. We got access to, we actually created Pinterest. And we got access to, I'm trying to think of what other ones we may have got access to. I'm probably missing one somewhere. Anyway, we got access to all the social medias. We also got access to TripAdvisor and Yelp. I think Yelp I already had. So we had set up Yelp. But no, I think it was in the last 2 weeks that I set up the Yelp as well as the TripAdvisor. And so what I want to show you is TripAdvisor because that's an interesting one. And I did make a video and post a video specifically about TripAdvisor the other day because they actually have some interesting things in here. So first and foremost, TripAdvisor, obviously not technically a social media site, but I think these kind of fall in there. Yelp, not a social media site, although they now have social media component in there, which is helpful. But you still can do things in here that are similar to the social media sites. So I'm kind of going to group those in here a little bit. So one of the things that TripAdvisor has, let me refresh this to see if anything's changed here. Okay, not a whole lot's changed. We've upped the number of reviews in the last couple of days. We've only gotten 4 more, but that's 4 more that we didn't have, which is good. And I think we actually got more than 4. This campaign here got 4 more, but I think in the last 2 weeks since we refreshed it and got things up to date and everything, we've gotten more than just 4. We've upped that a little bit, but let me go to the main TripAdvisor page here for a second. Okay, let's go to Escape Plan Georgia. So just like all of the other ones, you need to come in here and you need to make sure that you set everything up as best you can. Okay, so down here you can see you can create a storyboard. This is very similar to what Yelp has now or Google My Business has. So you can actually post things in here. You've got a media suite where you can add your photos. You've got Review Express, the fast and easy way to get more traveler reviews. You got guides and articles. You got managed listings, and you got View Performance Dashboard, and of course, respond to reviews, which actually I do need to do. Make sure you do that. That's a good thing. And of course, in here, we've gotten a few, and I haven't responded to yet. So you can see on July 31st, July 30th, July 30th, July 29th, July 29, July 25, and then none since December of 2019. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them in the last week or so, which is when we started to get this all set up and make sure that it's correct. So I've got a couple of these new ones that I do have to come in and respond to, which I haven't yet. Shame on me, but it does have to be done. You want to get into the actual program and you want to make sure that you update everything in there. Make sure that your name and address and phone number are correct because that's something that needs to be correct on as many things as possible. Manage listings, so we can come in here. Okay, just make sure everything is correct. Put everything in that you can. Fill everything in as best you can. Okay, not a ton of different things you can do, but you can definitely go in and make sure that they're all correct. Okay, the details. Room escape games they actually had in here, thankfully. Some places don't have that yet. Recommended length of visit, 1 to 2 hours. Price of entry fee, $28. So we filled out all these different things. Listing support is literally support, so you can come in here and you can report things and whatnot. Okay, so the coup de grace for this one is that they actually have a way to help you get more reviews. So you can actually bring in a list of past customers into TripAdvisor, and they will mail out to all of those people and ask them to review. Can you put any type of business into TripAdvisor? Not really, John. So it kind of depends on the type of business. Yeah. So, like a plumber doesn't make sense, but I wanted to show this anyway because they do have some good stuff. But if you're, a destination location, a restaurant, things where people are going to go on a trip with, that's the type of thing that's in here. That's why I'm not going to spend too much time, but I definitely wanted to mention it because it is a big help for us. But you go in here, you can actually add in, so you can create an email over here. So you'd bring in your list, you create your email, they create the email really and send it out for you. Okay. And you just have to bring in the list. You can bring up to 1,000 people in. So I couldn't bring in the whole list, but I brought in the most recent 1,000 guests and had them mail it out. And so that was a big help there. But yeah, like I said, we won't dwell on that too long because it doesn't apply to a lot of different businesses, but it does apply to here. All right, so I mentioned LinkedIn. Now, the one thing that we did do is we not only post in here, which I showed you a minute ago, but we also put in an escape room page. Okay, so we actually made a page in here, and we just started to fill that in with content. So again, it's very much like a Facebook page. You just come in here, you create it. It takes 10 seconds to create this. Every business you have should have one of these. Are they going to get the most attention? No, but it's another place they can get attention. I mean, you can see, post impressions only 28, 5 new followers, 1, so not a lot of activity there. I mean, I did just make this the other day. We've only got 5 followers. Hopefully that'll grow into something, but it's definitely something we wanted to have there. And we go in and we post in there just like we would anything else. So we want to make sure that gets in there. The sad thing is most of the tools that post for you do not post to LinkedIn pages. Buffer does, but as we'll see in a second here, it's not doing it because otherwise you would see all the people images and you don't see the people images in here. So Buffer, for whatever reason, is not doing it, and I got to figure out why. Buffer is giving us some troubles. So why do I mention Buffer? Well, I'm going to show you why here right now, because the other thing that we have, of course, is Instagram. And here you can see, here's our Instagram. We'll go into here and you can see some of our posts. Okay, so you can see it was posting pictures, but and now it's posting the Bright Social stuff. So the Bright Social stuff is going through. However, the last picture that went through was on July 28th. So after July 28th, Buffer stopped posting it to it. So what do I mean by that? Well, what happens is Instagram does not work with a lot of softwares. However, Buffer.com is one of the softwares that will post to Instagram for you. So what typically, John says, what is Buffer? Yeah, Buffer is not a social media site. What it is it's literally a buffer, which is why it's called that, which makes sense, I guess. So log in here, and watch, it's probably going to try and log me into the wrong account. I say, no, it logged me into the right one. Okay, so what Buffer literally is you connect. Don says try Beyond, BYOND for Instagram. I'll check that out, Don. Thank you. That would be appreciated. I will definitely check that out. I know there are a few that do, but a lot of the softwares that claim they'll post to Instagram actually do it through Buffer. So the idea behind Buffer is that when I post something to Facebook, it should post it to Instagram and it should post it to the Escape Plan Georgia LinkedIn page. And it was posting to Buffer it was posting to the Instagram page, and then it stopped. Why? I have no idea why it stopped, but it worked for a couple of days and then it stopped working. And I posted stuff yesterday specifically to see, and you can see it did not do it. Now, this stuff coming from Bright Social, it did post. Okay. So this is from Bright Social. So I did connect it with Bright Social just the other day through Buffer. And so it's working there. But for some reason, it's not getting, and that's the issue I'm having right now. It's not that it's not posting to Instagram or to LinkedIn. When I post to the Facebook page, it's not getting that image for some reason, and that's what I've got to figure out. But when it does work, you post to Facebook, Facebook sees that image and posts it to these for you automatically. They put it into the queue here, and then it posts it out. And that's how it's supposed. Yeah, it was cloudy somewhere, Don says. Yeah, no kidding. Here it was. It definitely was. But that's how it puts it out, is through Buffer. The other thing that I use is IFTTT. For those of you who are not familiar with that, that is if this, then that. And so that's what I use for some of the other pages. So right now, you can see here, if new photo uploaded on Escape Plan Georgia, then post a tweet with image to Escape Plan Georgia. So when I put just like with Buffer, when I put something on Facebook, it should automatically go into here and post to Twitter. Okay, and it also should post it to Pinterest. So both of those things should happen. And I haven't been to Twitter in the last couple of days, so let's take a look and see if it's still going. Hopefully it is. And you can see, let's go to our thing here. And so you can see this is the Bright Social stuff is posting there. And it's been a couple days. So Bright Social is definitely working quite a bit. And down here, yep, there we go. So August 1st was the last one, which makes sense. So it is posting to there. So that's what IFTTT is going to do. And IFTTT is also going to do that in Pinterest. Now, again, we're talking about social media. So right here, Twitter, again, make sure you've got Twitter. Make sure it's active. Make sure that you're posting things to it. And you can see we're posting quite a bit to it now. When we started, let's go back into our little plan here that we put together. Let's look at Twitter. When we started with Twitter, they had 0 following. They had 12 followers, 0 follows, so they weren't following anybody. No posts since 2018. So we've definitely changed that. We get lots of posts now. They're posting multiple times a day, just like with all the other stuff. So you can see we're posting a lot of stuff in here now. Okay, so that's a good thing. We're up to 20 followers. All right. So, again, we didn't get this until about a week and a half ago when I finally set this up. I think it was not this past weekend, the weekend before, where I finally set this up. But you can see we got the name, address, and phone number in there for the citations. We got the posts going on. And the idea is just to build on that. Now, we could probably start to use third-party softwares to build aggressively our accounts. But right now, we're just letting that run naturally. But again, make sure that you come in, make sure you create Twitter, make sure you set it up properly, get that name, address, and phone number in there, make sure everything is set up properly. Pinterest. Again, the name of the game is we want to be found everywhere. Okay. So let's come on, Pinterest. Why aren't you loading Pinterest? Come on, baby. There we go. All right. Oh, so this is the wrong account, of course, because it would be too easy if it was the correct one. Let's log out of there. And let's hope I can remember off the top of my head the log into it. Because, look at that. All right. So I don't think I've ever logged into Pinterest from this account. So, first of all, why is okay. Not me. Let's see if I can do this. Info at escapeplanga.com. And hopefully this is the password. If it is, we'll be able to see. If it's not, then we won't. All right. So that's not it. I need to have my laptop. I don't remember what the login is currently. But we did see that it was posting to there. So we should be good there. Can you show your plan again, please? Was that Trello? Yeah, that was Trello. So this is the worst plan in the world because there's really nothing in there except for keeping track of these things. So what I'm doing is, in fact, because it's now August, I need to come in here and do an August update. So what I was doing was I just wanted to keep track. And you can see there's a lot of different things I've got to get in here and start doing. I've actually got a whiteboard over to the right here, which has tons of things that need to get transferred into here so that others can see it. But right now, what I did was I went to each of the social media sites and put down all the information. So like, for instance, we go to Tumblr. Well, and it says exists, but I think I created that one, created that Tumblr. Daily Motion doesn't exist. So I got to go in. I still got to go in and create that. TikTok doesn't exist. Pinterest didn't exist. We did create that. So I've got to add that information in there. TripAdvisor, you can see we had 6 reviews. We've now had over 10. I can't remember what we had, but Yelp, same type of thing in here, 6 with a 5 rating. So I'm just going to keep track of these things so we can see where we've been and where we go with all of this. Google My Business, here's the information. We had 93 reviews. We're already over 100 ratings of all 5 since we took over. So that's a big help. I did talk about a couple weeks ago that we were using Rep Kahuna to kind of filter those things to, make sure we get the 5-star reviews. But we've done pretty well with that. We gotten, I think we would have had a lot more reviews if we weren't using Rep Kahuna to kind of buffer that. But then again, we would also have the potential of somebody leaving a bad review on Google, which nobody's left a bad review anyway, so it didn't really matter too much. But it definitely is helpful to have that in place, especially because we can reach out to past customers at the same time, which also seemed to work really well. All right, so that's why we have this in Trello, is just to keep track of that. And you can see all of these have nothing in them yet because I've done it on my whiteboard, but I haven't done it in here. So I really need to transfer that over. All right, so that is social media so far. And again, now that I've got Yelp, where basically the guy not only got me to do ads, but he got me to turn on the Yelp Connect. So we'll start posting in there. We'll see if that makes any difference at all. But realistically, it's not like we're spending a ton of money on Yelp and we can shut it off anytime we want. So, we might only spend $100 in a month or so, just like we did with Facebook. We only spent $100. We made back, $1,300 or so. Hopefully in Yelp, we'll be able to see some of those similar types of results. So there you go. That is our basics on social media and what we're doing. Takeaways from this: start posting everywhere you can. Connect your stuff with Buffer. Hopefully Buffer will work for you. I got to figure out why it's not working. If anybody's a Buffer expert, reach out to me, because I'm not. I got to learn why that's not doing it. But I think if I understand it correctly, the thing with this too is when you got these connected, if I was to post something on Instagram, it should post to these two. So it kind of like whoever gets something new, it should post to these two. So if this one gets something new, it should post here. If this one gets something new, it should post to these two. And I think that's how it works. But you got to figure out why that's dying. By the way, you notice you can also connect Twitter in here. The buffer count is free if you only have 3. That's why I used IFTTT where I could. And then I used this for the other ones that I couldn't do IFTTT for, but I wanted to keep it, only to 3 so it doesn't cost anything, because why spend money if you don't need to? And so we got to figure out why that. Let's go to analyze here and kind of see, because like I said, it was working at one point. Yeah. So in fact, we can even test that if we wanted to, but anytime you upload a picture, it should automatically do that. And right now it isn't doing it, so I got to figure it out. But all right, any questions? Start throwing them out there, and we'll try to get you guys out of here, because we're just about to hit the 1 hour mark. And I've always promised we'd try to stay to an hour to respect your time. So if you got questions, toss them out there. But big thing here is get all of these things set up. We did Facebook, we did YouTube, we did Instagram, we did Pinterest, we did Tumblr blogs, which technically aren't social media, but you get it. John says IFTTT, and what is Big Kahuna? It's Rep Kahuna. Let me show you that. I'll show you some of that here. Let's take a peek at that. I think I've got it open here. So, this is Bright Social. That's logged out here, but okay. So yes, I'm still working. So this is Rep Kahuna. It's a reputation software. And so what you can do is you can do a few things with this. One, you bring in your business, and then you can bring in, just like we did when I talked about TripAdvisor, you can bring in your list of past clients, and this program will reach out to them and ask them to review your business. They'll say, hey, as a past customer, would you mind telling us how we did? And what this will do is it will create an in-between page, a feedback page, if you will, and they'll go to that feedback page. They'll be able to rate you 1 to 5 stars and give you feedback. If you get a 5-star or a 4-star review, it'll then say, hey, would you mind sharing this to, and it'll have, 3 sites, whichever 3 you want. So you could have Facebook, Google My Business, and Yelp. And they'll click on Google My Business, and they'll copy and paste that review into Google My Business, and you'll get your 5-star review there. If they do a 1, 2, or a 3, instead of it saying, hey, go post this bad review onto these other sites, it'll say, hey, sorry you had a bad experience. What can we do to make it better? And they'll be able to put in their information. This is all done with this software. And then that gets the 5-star reviews to go out, and it gets the lower reviews, if you get any, to give you feedback so you can help them and hopefully turn it into a 5-star experience. And so that's one of the things this does. It also takes your existing 5-star reviews. Like, for instance, this here, it's going to syndicate that out. That's what we saw when we were, let me see here. Let's go back to Facebook. So when you see, let's find one here. And I'm not going to find one because I got to say, there we go. So when you see this here, which is this is a Yelp review, it turns it into a graphic. This program is what does that. This one will reach out to Yelp and to Google and TripAdvisor and Facebook and other sites. It'll grab the review, just like you can see here. This is the review. and it'll create that graphic and then syndicate that graphic out to all your social media. And so people will see your 5-star reviews in a graphical form. And so that's another thing that this one does. It also gives you lots of reports. It gives you the ability to reply back to people from in here. And it also allows you to build like media that you can give out. So for instance, we've printed out business cards and flyers that have a scan code that will allow them to leave a review. So it's got a media center, and you can see, so it creates like cards like this that you can print out, and then they can scan that and leave a review. And you can see I've got one right here where I've created that. And so it gives you all of that stuff. So here's the flyers. We've printed these out. We've got them in the front. We've got postcards we can do. You can do stickers, counter cards, rack cards, which we printed these up. And we've got those out front as well. And bookmarks. And there's also cards, business cards. So we printed these out. We've got these out front. Everybody who comes through our door, we hand them one of these cards and ask them to leave a review. When they do, when they go in, when they scan this and they go into leave that review in our little buffer site, our review feedback site, there's also a coupon code for the next return too. So they scan this and they get a coupon code inside. So we tell them, it's like, hey, if you'll give us feedback by scanning this code or going to the link down here, there's a code in there for next time to get $5 off. And so that's gotten us a lot more feedback as well, because like I said, we've gotten, like over 10 Google reviews and 6 TripAdvisor reviews lately and everything. But inside of here, we've gotten a lot more from the feedback page. Okay. And the feedback page is, you can see it here. So it builds a page like this. So this is what they're going to see. Okay. And they just come in here, they fill this out. I loved it. And then they leave their review. And you can see right here is the coupon code feedback at checkout. And we've gotten a couple of these codes back already, the feedback ones. So it's definitely worked and it's definitely helped. But what I was going to say here is we've gotten a lot more feedback. And I apologize. They just changed the whole layout of this and the look of it. So I always sit here and go, where's the button for this and that? So I'm always looking for things. But you can see we've gotten 23 reviews inside of here, just feedback reviews from people. And we got one person who left a 3-star review and all 22 others left a 5-star. Now this is in our feedback. This is not stuff that was posted. Okay, you can see 8 of the Google reviews came from this feedback. 3 of the Yelp reviews came from this feedback. 2 Facebook reviews came from the feedback. And these were all 5-star. Okay. But this one here, this guy left a 3. And the reason he left a 3, he said it was the first time he'd been to one and he didn't feel that it was explained to him what he was going to be doing a little better. So that was good feedback. See, John says, general comment I have on social media comments by the public, almost no useful or interesting information comments like great, awesome, good job, provide little, and you must go through a lot of useless comments to find substance. Yeah, that's true. A lot of times when people are commenting, it's just going to be little nonsense comments or robots, which when you get a lot of that, good job, awesome, it's bots. People are using bots to leave feedback for whatever their reason is that they're trying to leave feedback in a bunch of places. That's what they're doing. They're using bots. And that's probably what that is. But yeah, it's tough to get people to really engage. And that's why we started to do some of these brain teasers and things like that, because we want to try and talk to people and say, hey, what's your opinion on this? Or, hey, one of those weird math things. And you saw in ours, we're still not getting a lot of comments. We're getting a lot of engagements. We're getting a lot of people clicking on images and things like that. We're not getting a lot of comments yet. So I really want to up that on Facebook. That would be a big thing. So it's a matter of, posting engaging stuff that gives people a reason to comment, ask questions. It looks like Facebook took away the polls, so you can't do the poll anymore, which kind of stinks. But because I wanted to do a poll the other day, and I'm like, hey, there's no polls there anymore. But anyway, going back to this, so that's what this is going to do. This is going to give you all that ability to do feedback, and it's going to manage it all. And you go to your dashboard here, and you can see all of that at a glance. Okay, so you can see 19 positive reviews, 1 negative review, which was that 3-star one. Okay, and so negative feedback. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know where I'm assuming that's that 3-star one that says negative review. negative feedback, which, I don't think 3-star is negative. He was just saying that, he wished somebody had explained to him a little better what he was doing in there because he'd never done it before. So, and I've already, changed that. So hopefully that'll happen. So, but you can see here, actually 100, the online review rating, 140. So that's, that's good stuff. And this just breaks it all down for you. And you can see the social reach here. It's going to send things out to Facebook, to Twitter, to LinkedIn. Doesn't show Instagram connected, but it is connected because it started posting to there too. We saw that a little while ago. So I'm not sure why that says it's not, but it should be. Yeah, Instagram's connected. Okay. So it is connected there. But yeah, that's going to post that stuff out there, okay, into social media. So that's another bit of automated content. So we've got Bright Social sending out all that stuff. We got me posting. We got all the images automatically posting. And then we've got the feedback stuff posting out there as well. So all of that's going out on a daily basis, just churning out content to Facebook. And we saw the results on Facebook that, it's just really taken a big jump forward by doing all of that stuff, which means it's going to, the reach, 1,587% increase in reach. And we saw that, some of that is through the ads, but 42,000 of it was certainly not. In fact, I think the ads brought in like 10,000 people. So 32,000 of this is organic. And that's a really good thing. And that's a big increase, 1,587%. So we like that. We're excited about that. But you got to get in there and you got to post this stuff. All right. Any other questions before we get out of here for today? I will post, again, actually, you know what? I've got a second here. I will put the links to all the stuff we talked about in the replay page. And again, if you're not in the replay membership, I will put that in here. Again, that's http://www.raiselinks.com/LMM for Local Marketing Mastermind. And when I post this up there, I'll put Bright Social's link in there. I'll put Soci Jam in there. I'll put Bright Social in there. All that stuff will be in there. And Buffer, all those sites that we talked about, I'll make sure that are in there. But let me put in here, just in case people don't get to that right away and they do still want to see that. Let me grab the links to some of those other ones and I'll post them in here right now. Let me get to... It's got to be over there. It is Easy Links. Make sure I'm logged in, which I'm not. Had a feeling that would be the case. So Link Bank. Let's go to Venda. Strategic Makita. All right. So the Rep Kahuna, we did webinars on all these. So what I'm going to give you is a couple of things here. Where's my... I don't see a link to the Rep Kahuna webinar. Expose, Social, Bright Social, Rep Videos, Local Analyzer, Lead Kahuna, Funnel Pages, Local Analyzer. I apparently don't have the replay to the Rep Kahuna, so I will put that into, I'll put the replay of the webinar in the notes. What I will put here is the checkout page. You may not want to buy something without seeing the webinar first, but I will at least put it in there for you. And the other thing that we talked about was Bright Social. So this, Bright Social, this is the webinar link here. Okay. So I will put Bright Social webinar. Okay. And then if you want to go directly to the Bright Social checkout page, put that in here as keep forgetting to do that. Social checkout page, we'll put that in here as well. Maybe. There we go. Bright Social checkout. Okay. And again, Buffer is you can search that online, just buffer.com, I believe, and all those other sites are pretty easy to find. But I will get that Rep Kahuna webinar, which I thought was in here. I thought I had the replay in here, but apparently I do not. Let me see if I've got let's Let's go with Soci Jam. Soci Jam. I may have a shortened link for that. I do not. I believe, however, that it's just Ray the Video Guy / Soci Jam, but let's find out for sure. Soci Jam. Or actually, it might be, it might be Soci Jam 2. Is this Soci Jam 1, I believe? Is that the original one? Let's find out. Because there was a Soci Jam 1 and then a number 2. But let's get access to Soci Jam. Let's find out if it works. So it looks like it does. So yeah, so we'll just put that in there. RayTheVideoGuy.com. RayTheVideoGuy.com/Soci Jam. That should get you there. All right. I don't see it. Pete says HTTPS with question marks. I'm sure all of those are HTTPS as well, but I'm not sure what the question is there, Pete. And again, IFTTT is just IFTTT.com. But again, I'll put that all into the back end. So Pete, if you can let me know what you mean by that, I will gladly answer. But if nothing else pops up in the next few seconds, I'll let you guys get away and we'll get on with the day. Hopefully everything that we talked about here is helpful and useful and will help you with your business or your clients' businesses. Your links don't work. They should work. They better work. Let's find out. Oh. Well, look at that. You're right. Something going on there. That's not good. It's not good at all, especially since all my links are on that. Let's try. Wow. Yikes. That's a scary thought. Wonder what's going on there. Let's try an S on that. Nope, connection not what is going on, folks? That's not good. The website may be impersonating raislinks.com. Well, I'll have to put some direct links in there, but we're going to have a chitty chat about that because almost everything that I do is using those links, and that's not a good thing. So, all right. And Greg says, are we live? Well, I'm live, but none of my links work. So I'm going to have to find out what's going on there. Anyway, Gregory, if you just joined us, we are done. We just ended. But the replay, wow. Let me get the actual replay link because that Raise Links is getting some sort of an issue there, which is kind of weird. I don't know why. I just don't know why. But it's like one of those security issue things. But raiselinks.com there isn't even a website on that. It's just literally a domain. So I'm not sure what's happening there. We shall have to figure that out. So let me see here. Let's go to Everlesson. And we will get the direct link. And I will mail that out too. So if anybody's dropped off, we'll make sure that they get that. But that's not good. I wonder what's going on there. All right. Local Marketing Masterclass. It's under this here. Local Marketing Masterclass. You can see behind the scenes here now, folks. Believe this is the one we want, right? Yep, that's the one we want. So here's the direct link to sign up if you haven't done it already. That should definitely work. But I'm going to have to figure out what's going on with those other links. So, all right, guys. Well, with that, I don't see any new questions popping up in there. So be sure to get in there for the replay on those links that aren't working, those shortened links, the raiselinks.com stuff. I will put the actual links in the back end there, so you'll be able to get direct links, so we won't have to worry about going through the shortened link, which not sure what's happening there, but we'll have to figure it out. So with that, I hope you guys have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon.